Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Hanson, the owner and founder of Original Development located in Dunwoody, Georgia. This is part of an ongoing video series. My hope is to reach out to parents and to try to give you some ideas about how to work with a child that may have a neurobehavioral challenge. Today what I'd like to do is to share with you a little self-assessment that you could do on your child and explain to you what it really means. So I have some of my favorite items here: a kaleidoscope, a fat pencil or fat crayon will work, and a telephone, and I do prefer an old-fashioned phone, and a ball. These 4 items can help me understand if a child has lateralized correctly. Now in a minute I'm going to show you how to do the assessment, but let me explain what that means. There is a progression to development. There's a sequence of time. And in that, we can begin to look on the outside of the body, assess, and see if that child is developing as expected. Now, around the end of the 2nd year, so about 2 3/4 years, there is lateralization development. And what that means is the child will demonstrate a set of dominance in the hand, eye, ear, and foot, all on the same side of the body. Now, it's important to understand that's a timeline, number 1. Number 2, do not push your child to go to one side over the other. Before 2 3/4 years, the child is using both sides of the body, and that's absolutely expected. Do not influence if you want your child to be a righty or a lefty. Please, please, please do not do that. It's important to let the brain do what it's designed to do. And if everything is going as expected, it will. Now, if your child is over the age of 3, this is a time for you to be able to do this kind of an assessment and see if your child is going in the right direction. Lateralization means that everything that's going on in my brain is becoming organized. I've said on many videos that when you come into this world, you are brainstem dominant. You are fully formed, but you're not fully developed. And it is the experience that the child goes through internally and externally that brings maturation to the higher brain. So there is a progression and there is a sequence. There's lots of neurogenesis that goes on the first 3 years of life. Neurogenesis is the making of nerves, and they are branching out like the biggest tree. And those trees are making connections, and they are creating circuits. And those circuits are what allow you to do many things at one time. For example, just in making this video, I am bringing both sides of my hemispheres together because the need to talk is on the right, the work of talk is on the left. In order for me to make sense through a conversation with you, those 2 sides have to be working with perfect timing. In addition, I am using my hands in expression, and I am coordinating objects on a table to bring into the video. I am sitting here in gravity. So there's many things going on in my neurology at one time. That's the idea behind circuits. Now, after about the age of 3, the brain goes through what's called pruning. And what that means is wherever there is not an efficient circuit, then the body will literally go and prune away the excess nerves because they're not seen as being helpful. Now, this is a crucial part of development. In our previous video, we talked about the developmental milestones. That's our beginning stages to really understand if our child is going in the right direction. This is a transitional place to see where might our child not be headed in the right direction. So without further ado, let me show you how to do this. What you want to do is have your items and have a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper, what I would like for you to write is just right and left and put a line beside it so that you could just check it off. If you visit the website www.originaldevelopment.org, you will find an opt-in assessment. And if you sign up, we will send you this form directly. But if you just want to do it on your own, please feel free to do it. So have a piece of paper to where you could check off, did your child do it on the right or on the left? You're going to hand the object to the child in the midline of the body. You don't want to show favoritism. You don't want to hand it to the right hand it to the left hand. You want to hand it directly in the midline of the body, allowing your child to grab the item. Because I'd also like for you to notate what hand did they grab the item with. Whichever one you want to start with is perfectly fine. With the kaleidoscope, this is going to help us see which eye would your child naturally put it to. I can't emphasize enough. I give very little direction and I allow the child to naturally try to place this up to their eye. So they would grab the item, either with the right hand or the left, and they're going to place it up to an eye. And that's what you want to write. Did they grab it with their right hand? Did they put it up to their right eye? Did they put it up to the middle of their head, not really knowing what to do with it? Or did they cross over the body? You want to write down everything that you see. The next area is a pencil or crayon. Now we want to make sure that we use it appropriately. So we want to get the fat ones because at this age, children are just now starting to acquire the pencil grip and they're still going to wrap their hands around it. And in order for them to really grab it, that's why there are fatter crayons and pencils. Ask your child just to draw you a picture. If they're above the age of 4, you could ask them to draw a picture of you. You could ask them to write numbers, but then just notate which hand did they pick it up with and which hand did they write with. Next, a telephone. Now I have to be honest with you, I'm probably aging myself here, but a lot of these phones don't really exist anymore. I did have the phone out at an expo recently and I was really happy to see that the kids knew what to do with it. If you have an old-fashioned phone, I do find it to be much more directed at showing the child what it is that you really want them to do. But your cell phone is fine because many children are familiar with their parents' cell phone. But again, if you're going to do a cell phone, hand it in the midline, note the side that they grab it with, and which ear do they put the phone to. Here they would naturally go up, take it to one of their ears, might even do some dialing for you. Notate which ear they place the receiver to. Lastly is a ball. You're going to take the ball, roll it on the floor, and ask your child to kick it. So remember, we wanted to look at what hand do they write with, which eye do they naturally go towards, which ear do they naturally go towards, and what foot do they kick. Now you are entitled to a complimentary consultation with me, and I'll be happy to go over the results with you. A child that is developing as expected after 2 3/4 years would typically demonstrate all of these items on the same side. And what that's going to tell you is that your child's neurological circuits are actually developing as expected. If your child does not demonstrate that, it's definitely not the end of the world. The most marvelous part of working with this population is you can very easily change a lot of these things. However, a word of caution. Please don't think that all you have to do is make your child take a kaleidoscope up to the dominant eye that you think that they should have, and that will correct the problem. No, by now what I'm really hoping that you're getting from these videos is that there's a sequence, there's a progression. And at Original Development and Therapy Center, we go to health at its origin. Where did the interference take place? This should have been a natural progression. If it's not, allow us to help you improve the outcomes.